Hello, welcome back. I am here. Uh, so yeah, I wanted to kick off by saying about the channel, talking about the channel. Um, I was looking at my analytics. Thanks for all the wonderful turnout last week. We've bumped over a threshold, unlocked some new emotes slots. I need to get something put in there, which raised the issue of I don't yet have instant approval for emotes, which means it takes weeks and weeks for them to approve emotes. But I'm real close to it. So I intend, and look over there because that's where the analytic panel is. I should be looking at you guys. Um, I'm going to run more streams this week. First of all, to try out doing more than one on Tuesday and one on Saturday, and occasionally moving the Tuesday one around. Um, but also because it will help push that over the edge. I'm real close to the threshold on that as well. So um, that's the plan currently. So expect me tomorrow to finish our Lego project. I don't know that I'll be doing any cooking beforehand. I think I'm just going to jump right in on the Legos with the intent of finishing Optimus Prime. Um, and then when we get into tomorrow, I'll think about Thursday. Um, so stay tuned. I'm trying to post a schedule or add to the schedule as I come up with the as I add more things. Um, so yeah, that's the plan. I'm trying to get the just jump myself over the edge there and test out expanded schedules as well. Um, should also probably, since I've got that capture card, probably use the Switch at some point. Otherwise, that capture card will have just been a waste. Um, as for today, we've got something weird. Um, I was browsing around and I found tofu shiratake fettuccine. Now, tofu shiratake, I didn't actually look that up. That sounds like it's a real thing. Um, ooh, it might just be the brand. Um, yeah, okay, that's the brand. Well, I guess they make noodles. Specifically, they make Italian pasta shapes out of tofu. Um, they are definitely more expensive than standard pasta. But here, I'll pop over to the counter so you can look at it as I talk about it. As you can see, this one was discounted. That's half off. So this single serving of noodles was $3, whereas an entire family-sized box of spaghetti that's got weeks of worth of food in it is less than $3 where I am usually, like $2.50. So these are quite a bit more expensive. So I suppose if you want pasta, therefore if you want pasta and you're trying to either cut back on carbs, or you can't have gluten, or you can't have wheat, or something, that's what they're marketed for, no doubt. Um, they also are perishable and do not freeze, which are strikes against them, I have to say. So they've got a lot of overcoming to do in my book if I'm ever going to get them again. Since I got them on a discount, I want to give them a fair shake and give them a try, see if they're good. Maybe they're amazingly delicious. Um, Who knows? We're going to find out. And they claim to be added to your favorite noodle dish. So, and they have very simple ingredients. So it's not like we're working with some crazy thing. It's it's tofu that looks like it's been partially gelatinized with konjac and calcium hydroxide gluconodelta-lactone. Interesting. Um, so, yeah, they do need to be cooked, but only for a minute in the microwave. So that convenience factor could be a thing if they end up being very good. But I suppose this is going to be my first ever like review of a product. I hope they're good. But we're gonna give them a go. The fact that they're discounted isn't massively promising because it suggests that they weren't selling, which suggests that they weren't popular. And nobody eats noodles completely bald. Well, some people do. So I'm going to prepare a dish for them, not just boil them and eat them, which would only take us a minute. Um, so they're actually going to sit aside because it takes apparently very little time to prepare them. So they can they can rest to the side. We will prepare one of my favorite pasta dishes. Um, which is called midnight pasta. Get out a board, but we're going to get out ingredients first. I'm not sure if this is apocryphal or what, but my understanding of the name midnight pasta is because if you're in Italy and you wake up at midnight and you're hungry, you have all of the ingredients for this on hand, and you can just slap it together. Um, so we are going to make that. I like it as a quick, easy thing. I should write this down. I don't know where I originally got this because I didn't make it up. I got it from somewhere, but I don't remember where. And I just made it myself for a while. Um, so unlike a lot of our recent adventures, I'm not working with a recipe today because I'm working with just my own recipe. So I should probably write this one down since it's one of my favorites. I'm sure if I went Googling, I would find something about where this came from. Uh, but we're starting with garlic. I'm going to go. Do I need 3 cloves of garlic? I probably don't need 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to use the skinny one and the sprouty one. I'm actually going to throw the big one back to be used later. Um, so we're going with 2 small cloves of garlic. And we want the garlic minced up first, as always. We want this garlic to generously express its flavors. So I'm going to pulverize it through my microplane first thing before we do anything else, so it has the maximum amount of time. I'm also going to take the time to mise en place everything over here. Before I dive in on the cooking. I don't always do that. Often I prepping things and throwing them in while things are cooking instead of getting all my ingredients ready to go. Um, but in this case, I'm going to prep all my ingredients and talk about them as I go. Apparently I'm in the just chatting category. That's not correct. That must be left over from when I did birthday last time. Let's fix that. That's a leftover for sure from previous product. That's not a lot of garlic. This is supposed to be a pretty garlicky thing, so I'm actually going to backpedal. I know there's some stuck there, but we backpedal and add my third clove of garlic. So 3 cloves of garlic. This is somehow related to what's it called? Oh, now I gotta actually remember the name of this. Uh, Pasta aglio e olio. I think is an ancestor of midnight pasta, and that is pasta with garlic and oil. It also has Parmesan and parsley. It's got a lot of strong similarities to this that I'm making right now. So I'm pretty sure that that is an ancestor of this, and this is just a little bit less fussy and a little bit more complex. Complex is probably the word I want there. Okay, 3 cloves of garlic. Set to the side. We'll keep that spatula handy because we can use it down the line. I should just get out all my little bowls. I'm going to need them all if I want to prep all these ingredients. I'm going to throw the little sprout from the garlic in with our shallot. This is 1 shallot. Um, you could use like a half a small onion in place of the shallot, for sure. You could probably skip the shallot and onion entirely if you really wanted to. It doesn't add. It adds something to the complexity, but there are so many strong flavors going on that you might not miss it. Oh. Sometimes. Well, I think it might be a winter thing. My onions have been doing this too, where I've been having a really hard time getting the papers to come off. And I've had to go at them with a knife just to have something that can get in between the paper layer and the uh, first food layer, edible layer. Um, because they're so tight, I can't get my fingernail in there. Okay, let's get out a little dish. Uh, shouldn't be using the little paring knife for this, but here we are, using my little paring knife for this. And you just want a small dice for your whatever, whichever of these you're using. Shallot will give you smaller pieces because the layers are thinner, which is why I prefer it for this, because this isn't a chunky sauce we're making. So whatever you put in it should break down pretty small. Keep my panel front and center. All right. I change things on my screen. I've got two screens, and I squander them by having them be both pretty much the same thing. Um, honestly, I should probably have this one over there with me. I look at it more. Well, let's hope this doesn't screw me up. We've swapped sides on my layout. Um, garlic, shallot, Selena, welcome in. So we're doing a taste a product taste test, and I'm giving it a fair shake by making something delicious out of it. And I'm going through it carefully so that I can write this up as a recipe, because this is something that I make for myself all the time, called midnight pasta. It's my jar of capers is very narrow. Um, so I thought it's a good test because what we're testing is uh, noodles. Let me grab them. Let me grab them. Um, so this is the thing I'm testing. Tofu shirataki fettuccine. So they are noodles made out of tofu. And it says that I can use them in my favorite, it says noodle dish. So maybe they're not intending them to be pasta, but they called it fettuccine, which is a pasta shape. So I'm going to treat it like fettuccine and see if it works. The thing I'm making is midnight pasta, which is definitely second cousin to aglio e olio, a Italian classic. I'm not sure where I got midnight pasta from. I didn't come up with it or name it. But at this point, I've forgotten where I encountered it. So I can't provide reference. And I thought it would be a good shout today to go through a little bit slow so that I can, because normally it whips together real fast. I'm going to go through it a little bit, deliberately a little bit slow, so that I can work out, so that I can jot down the ingredients and into a formal recipe. So currently I'm prepping the things that are going to go into it. And I'm doing a slight change today because I have another special ingredient from uh, recent past that I'm going to use rather than the anchovies that normally this calls for. So I'm doing a mise en place that I normally don't go quite this detailed in, but if you're familiar, you may remember this box of salt, which contains chunks of fish that are so salty that they are never going to die. But there's not a lot of them left because I have been using them. I'm going to use half of one of those and then pack in the rest. This is our, what's it? Maltese tuna. This is our Maltese salted tuna. Which in this case, after my experiments with it, should be just what we're looking for, but give us a slightly different flavor profile. The recipe normally calls for 2 to 3 anchovies, or anchovy paste. This is what I normally do when I'm doing it. Just a quick version. Tube of anchovy paste, and then what you do is you squeeze out 2 lines that are about the size of an anchovy, and that's 2 anchovies. It's a lot easier to use than whole anchovies, and it breaks down in the pan better as well. But the salted tuna is fancy, so we're going to use it because I like it. If you don't like fish, don't add the anchovies or the salted tuna. I haven't worked out a good substitute for them in this case. You could probably give it a splash of fish sauce, but again, if you don't like fish, that's not right. It's bringing a strongly salty, sort of aged umami flavor. So I guess a splash of soy sauce could work in this scenario, but it's not really the right kind of flavor. I should do some research on non-fish options for this. I'm using a bit more of this than anchovies, than I would anchovies, because this is a little bit less strongly flavored than anchovies, although it is saltier than anchovies, so that's a bit of a trade-off. We will definitely not be adding any extra salt to this on account of the capers and the salted fish. We also have some dry spices to add to this. I didn't dust out my mortar last time I used it, I think. Red chili pepper. With the seeds. Pre-prep. This is prep. I'm out of pre-prep. Also, welcome in. And black pepper. Combining my peppers. Or is your pre-prep taking some time? Or is my stream frozen? No, stream looks fine. Welcome in. I'll recap. I'll recap what I'm doing for everyone, if you want to know. We are taste testing this guy at the top here, which are tofu fettuccine. And I want to give them a fair test. I'm going to taste them bald, but I want to give them a fair test. So I'm making one of my favorite pasta dishes to do so. And in the process, I'm going a little bit slow, deliberately a little bit slow, to jot down the ingredients so I can put this together as a recipe. I still don't have a place to publish my recipes. That's a problem. I guess I need a website. From today's sponsor, no, I don't have a sponsor. I know Squarespace sponsors everyone. Oop, there's an ad coming up. Those of you not subscribed, there's an ad coming up. We need olive oil. Oh, the lid to my olive oil is bent. That's not ideal. Not gonna bother measuring it, but it's 2 tablespoons olive oil. Or possibly a little bit more than that. 3 tablespoons olive oil. Gentlemen have to be shifted to the side. Because when I do this for myself, I often forget something and then have to throw it in late. Raid Shadow Legends. If they approached me and asked for a sponsorship, I don't know what I would do because I think they're kind of a shady thing. So I guess I just sunk my chance for a sponsorship by saying that, but they're not going to watch this. That one's a little bit. We're going to save the stems on my parsley this time. Since I'm doing this in advance, I can pre-plan. You can use parsley stems, just like you can use the leaves. It's just that the stems are a little bit more fibrous and need to be cooked a little bit longer. So if you are pre-prepping stuff like I am doing, you have the time. There's quite a bit of parsley in this. That's a good pile of parsley. The parsley is going to be minced up. There's also cheese going to be in this. For the parsley, I do need a bigger knife. We can't do the little knife for the herbs. That's just a good way to slice your finger open. But yeah, no need to throw away your parsley unless you're throwing, or for parsley stems, unless you're throwing them in right at the end with the leaves. The leaves are very tender and should be added very close to the conclusion of whatever you're cooking. The stems should be added earlier so they have a chance to soften up because they're a little bit fibrous. They're like teeny tiny celeries. I actually don't think I'm even going to mince up the leaves at this point because they'll start to blacken around the edges if they sit around too much. They're just going to sit there. Trying to picture myself doing this. Noodles, or sorry, oil, fish, onion, caper, garlic. Nope, dry spices go in before the garlic. Um, yes, this is the problem. I sort of do this automatically, and if I don't have something, I just skip it because it's pretty freeform. You're just looking for some strong flavors to combine together. So I'm trying to do this properly. Make sure I don't skip any elements. I think we got all the bits, except for the cheese. This does need a good amount of Parmesan. Where's my Parmesan wedge? But the Parmesan gets grated at the end because we don't. It's not being melted into the sauce, so not adding that yet. And then you throw the noodles, in the sauce, toss it around, serve it. Which means we should cook the noodles. Although, according to the packaging, again, these are very, very quick. So they might be very, very quick. And then I think I'll probably concoct a side salad for myself. So, that's all the elements. 3 cloves of garlic, about half a tablespoon of capers, 1 shallot, and 2 to 3 anchovies. In this case, I'm standing in the anchovies for my what the name of the location is Malta, Maltese salted tuna, and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So let's get out a pot and cook these weird noodles and see how they perform before I move on to anything else. I'm supposed to open the package, drain them, and rinse them before cooking them. So we will do that, and then take a look at them. I don't have a scissors. Right at the start, and I don't think everyone was here yet to hear about it, I'm planning additional streams this week because we are close to a threshold on channel progress, and I would like to push over it instead of let it slowly sneak up on me. Okay, gonna get these out of here, and then I'm gonna bring them back. They sure look like cooked pasta. They sure look like cooked pasta. They smell a little bit. They smell a little bit. I'm not sure what they smell like. They don't smell bad. They don't smell like they're spoiled. They don't have sort of that clean tofu smell. Give them a rinse. Now, they're not just tofu. As I was reading the ingredients, they're not just tofu. It's tofu and konjac and some gelatinizing agents. So they clearly had to do some work to make them hold together. Let's get out a larger bowl to contain them so that I can bring them back. They sure sound like noodles. This is them. Here they are. Like I said, they sure look like cooked noodles. They hold together. They've got a stretch, a bounce to them. Quite a lot of one, actually. They don't break apart like other pasta substitutes I've had. Um, does it say they have to be cooked? No. They can, according to the packaging, they do not have to be cooked. There's cooking directions, but it does not say cook before eating. So I am going to give them a taste test, as is. See, because this is the whole point of this. I'm testing these things. Mm. Very little flavor, but the flavor that there is definitely not pasta. And also not tofu. I think the konjac is coming through. I think it's the konjac coming through, and they have a very like almost like uh, if you if you put too much gelatin in something and it kind of solidifies. That's the kind of texture they have. So they got a sort of a bounce and a spring to them, but the way they break apart isn't like pasta. It's more like a very firm jelly. So they're not. Hmm. I actually don't mind the flavor. It's interesting that they have their own distinct flavor. It's not real strong, but it's definitely present. Yeah, Goldie, welcome in. Here, I keep throwing the packaging away. Here's the package. Um, so the shape is fettuccine. I'm going to treat them like fettuccine. I'm giving them a whole taste test. So I just tasted one straight out of the package. All I did was open it up and rinse it off. I turned my that light off so I'm not blowing out the camera. So it calls them noodles, not pasta. And it says use them in your noodle dishes, not your pasta dishes. So, but then they call them fettuccine, which is a pasta shape. So I'm giving them a fair. I'm trying to give them a fair shake. We're making midnight pasta, which is what all these ingredients are. I wanted to get everything prepped out. They so far I'm torn. They don't taste like pasta. They have their own. They also don't taste like tofu. I think because I was reading the ingredients. First ingredient is water, and then soybeans. That's your tofu. Third ingredient is konjac. I think I'm tasting the konjac, which is like a seaweed jelly. And I'm sure that's in there to make them gelatinize. And that's the first thing I noticed when I took them out of the packaging is they had a smell to them, and they also have a taste to them. The taste is much. I thought it was an ocean vegetable. Um, I'm not gonna go googling stuff right now. Um, they had a bit of a smell to them when I took them out of the package, but when I gave them a quick rinse, it does say rinse them. Gave them a quick rinse, that went away right away, and the flavor was not super pronounced. So I think if we add stuff to them, they'll work. So I've never had them before, so I'm going to give them the full workup. We're giving them the full workup and seeing how they perform, how they behave. I'm treating them in an Italian dish as opposed to a um, Asian noodle dish. We're making an Italian pasta dish, which means they're going to get tossed in the sauce. So they're going to have to hold up to some punishment as I toss them around. Uh, yeah, I'm live. No warbles on my end. Um, Obviously, if you can't see or hear me, then you don't know that I'm talking and doing stuff. Um, that would be why. That would be why you were seeing that way. Why you commented on pre-prep. Pre-prep took about 5 minutes. We've been doing stuff for the past uh, 40 minutes. Well, welcome in for real. We've already prepped all the stuff. We've already looked at our ingredient, all of our ingredients. Let's get out our. So, I suppose you've only seen the pre-prep sign and nothing else. So I will have to fill you in as to what we are doing. Um, so, this is what I'm doing. I found this at the store and it was marked down, so I figured I'll give it a try. Um, I was just talking with Goldie about what's in them. They, it's near as I can tell, it's just tofu that has konjac added to it to make it gel. I was just saying their flavor is more like the flavor is very mild. It doesn't taste like tofu though. I'm assuming that's the konjac coming through. Um, the texture is not like pasta. It's a little bit more like jelly, but they definitely have a like a sproing and a stretch to them, like cooked pasta. So we're doing a reasonable facsimile at the moment. And what we're making is midnight pasta. Let's jump over to the. All right, I switched my screens, so every screen I look at is the wrong one now. Let's come over here. I'm not going to salt the water. I'm going to say that right at the start. I'm just not going to salt the water. I want to see what the water looks like after I cook it, as is. Now, pasta obviously gives you that starchy pasta water that you then add a splash of to your sauce to make the sauce like become a smooth sauce that sticks to the pasta. Um, okay. I'm starting us off with oil, and this might end up being a pretty short thing today as well, depending on how this goes. Midnight pasta itself does not take very long. I've sort of deliberately slow rolled it, so I could chat about it. Where's my ad tracker? Okay, got the ad tracker up, so I can now skip ads instead of having them cut off an important thing. And when I'm making something like this where it doesn't go for very long, that might be important. Um, but this is the procedure. So you start with the oil in the pan, and then you add your salted fish. In this case, we of course have our salted tuna, but you would add the anchovy at the same time. If you're using anchovy paste, it does not need nearly as long to get started. If you're using whole anchovies, they need to cook it long enough to start to break apart. The tuna is not going to break apart at all, so I'm just going to cook it until it starts changing color, and then I'm going to throw the things in there. Um, and don't go nuts on your heat. I didn't preheat this, but don't go nuts on your heat because stuff will burn. So yeah. How's your day going, everyone? Let's move the gentleman before I get them dirty. Um, this knife, I I don't know. I think it was a gift. It used to have a protector on it that got accidentally thrown in the recycling, and now it doesn't have a protector on it. Woo. Uh, Felix, you are first. It only took us 53 minutes to get a first. But I'm not sure. It's reasonably sharp. It definitely feels like it's kind of a bit cheap. And the handle is very, very light. Um, no, Goldie. Most days, nobody does it until Felix gets here, and then Felix gets it. Um, so I use it for because I've got a couple of these different knives this size. My tuna is sizzling, which is the main event. I can talk about knives in a minute. We have active cooking going on, so I can't really show off my knives. My water is boiling too, so I'm going to take my noodles and throw them in. Um, I'm going to throw the parsley stems in now as well. And you do kind of have to keep this thing moving. It's a little bit too hot. It's a little bit too hot. Like I said, don't go nuts with the heat. These ingredients aren't very large, so they will tend to cook rapidly and burn easily. So we have the parsley stems, the capers, and the shallot, and now we're going to cook them until the shallot is translucent. Um, I'm going to throw my spices in now. Oop, my noodles have come to a rolling boil, and the water's foaming up like it's dissolving something, so that's good. I'm going to throw my mixed black and red peppers in there now as well. Don't throw your peppers in too early. The red pepper will handle being in the oil for a while. The black pepper, you risk burning if you throw it in right at the start. You could probably throw the red pepper in with the tuna and or anchovies right at the start if you so wanted. So the concept of this sauce is that we have a bunch of very strong flavors that we're just using small amounts of, and they're combining into this really punchy sauce that doesn't have a lot of volume to it. Um, uh, Preserved salted fish, the pickled capers, um, our spices, our garlic. That's the concept here. Uh, Capers are delicious, and since they're pickled, they basically keep forever. So if you can find, I regret it because I saw it only once. My local grocery store had large jars of capers. They were like pint jars of capers. Um, and I was like, oh, that would be perfect. But I have a jar of capers. I'll get that big one next time when I finish the one I've got. And when I went back, they didn't have the big ones anymore. They didn't even have a spot on the shelf for them. They were gone, gone, gone. Um, all they have are the little tiny ones now. So that was, I don't know where they got those giant capers or why they got rid of them, but I wish I had gotten them when they were the thing. Uh, okay, I did. I'm actually using those capers right now. I just opened them today. Okay, these noodles kind of stuck to, they didn't stick to the pot, they stuck to each other a little bit. Um, yeah, I'd have to find like a distributor to find those big jars. Capers basically keep forever, so there's no reason not to have big capers. I'm going to snooze our ad because I am actively cooking right now. We're going to taste test one of these noodles because I just boiled them. So before I throw them in there, oh, actually, before I taste test, before we burn any of this stuff, add the garlic and get it started. Ooh. Cook until it's fragrant. It's immediately fragrant. I want to pull one of these noodles out so that I can taste it cooked by itself. So one of the noodles is coming out cooked by itself. The other noodles are going to get drained, and we're going to see how they hold up to being tossed in an Italian-style manner. They sizzle a lot. They don't appear to be sticking to the pan, so that's a good sign. They also aren't breaking apart, and that's a good sign. That thing is done. That's as far as that dish goes. So let's get it out of there before we burn anything. Don't forget to scrape the pan down when you plate it, because, like I said, we don't have a lot of sauce, but the sauce we do have is very strongly flavored. So you want all of it to be in your plate, not languishing in the pan. Bring it back. Swap sides. Okay. We were going to test one bare cooked noodle. Again, good springiness. It feels a lot like a pasta in my hand. Biting it off, it still has that sort of jelly texture to it. The konjac flavor is basically completely gone, though. It's blank slate. So that's a point in its favor. Once it's cooked, it's pretty much blank slate. I don't hate it. Honestly, I was ready to not like it so much. I was ready to condemn it, but you know what? It is currently delivering what it promises. But we got to finish this. I always avoided making things like this on the stream because I know they don't take very long. Even with my deliberately slowing down and stopping and talking a lot, this took me an hour. Generous topping of parm. I like to buy a wedge of parm and microplane it. I think we get good, better surface area, and it's cheaper than buying pre-grated. And if you wanted to melt it into something, it melts into something very, very easily. It doesn't have those anti-caking agents on it. I'm gonna give it a sprig of parsley for decoration. Let me go grab a quick couple snaps of it, and then I will come back and tell you if I can even notice the difference between this and real pasta. Where is my camera? brought the camera into the kitchen. That's not right. That's not where the photo station is. Okay. So far, it's holding up. Oop, there's an ad coming up, and should I snooze it? I'm going to snooze it. Oh, Twitch just notified me that I snoozed too much and pre-rolls are back on. Great. Thanks, Twitch. Anyways, we're going to taste it, see if I can tell the difference. So far, it's held up to every thing I've done to it. But of course, the proof with any food is in the eating. Hmm. Hmm. They have a little bit of a funny texture that kind of stands out. They're not quite as tender as cooked pasta. They've got an almost, I'm trying to think how to describe it. If you've ever eaten jellyfish, it's kind of like that, but just a tiny bit. Where they're soft, but they give you a little bit of resistance. And then when you bite through them, there's just a tiny, like, almost crunch before they mash up. It's not, the flavor is perfect. It tastes exactly like midnight pasta. The texture, I would say, even within all this, is the noticeable thing. I don't hate it, but since I'm noticing it, I'm wondering if this kind of dish isn't necessarily appropriate for these noodles. They held up. I'm impressed. They held up to being tossed around in a hot pan, and they didn't break apart and they didn't stick. Two key elements. And I deliberately didn't use a nonstick to see if how they would do, and they didn't stick to my just steel pan. So very impressed with their performance. Their flavor is extremely neutral, which is their noodles. That's not unexpected. I actually overcooked the tuna a little bit. Um, I'm not sure how I feel about them. If you're looking for a substitute for pasta that does not have any wheat in it, and I believe is low carb in general, 6 carbs per serving, 1 serving per container, only 20 calories. So they're low calorie, low carb, and they have protein in them. So if you're looking for a pasta substitute that has those features, this is really quite close. I'm impressed with the science that has gone into them. But as I have no qualms about eating pasta, I don't know that I'm going to seek these out in the future. I don't think I'm the correct market for them. Here is a surprise bonus. And I will do it, I will prep it while the ad is playing, just in case somebody wants to see it, and bring it back. So after the ad, they were quite a bit more expensive. You may recognize this from last week. I didn't taste test it on stream. So I'm going to go warm up a dish of it, and you guys can get the bonus taste testing of the previous project. But yes, they were more expensive. This one serving cost me $1.50, and that's because they were half off. So they're $3 for a single serving, which is a heck of a lot more than standard pasta. So again, I don't think I'm the market for those. They're good. They are good. I just don't think they're for me. I'm also going to make a salad. Let's take the dried up end off of my, come on, cucumber. So yeah, if you're interested in pasta substitutes, they're almost nailing it. They're a lot closer to pasta than many of the substitute items that I have encountered are to the things that they are substitutes for. If I were to compare these noodles to a meat substitute, these are far closer to pasta than any meat substitute I've had is to meat. They hold up in terms of not just the eating, but you don't have to treat them special when you're prepping them. I'm making a little salad, cucumber salad for myself on the side. People are back from the ad. Welcome back from the ad, people who were on the ad. I was just saying how these noodles they're not for me, but that's because I have no problem eating normal pasta. They are very close to pasta and are honestly very impressive how close they are to pasta. Doing a better job than any of the meat substitutes I've tried. So that's my endorsement of them. Not for me, but if you're interested in non-wheat based noodles, these are recommended in that capacity. Since our ad is over and we are back, I'm gonna finish making this little side salad for myself. The lid is broken on my bottle of oil. Oop, no, I glugged it. I glugged it right at the end. Um, our project from last week. This stuff. This is my chocolate cinnamon roll bread pudding. Served for one, warmed in the microwave. If you're not familiar with bread pudding, or I made this on the weekend, on the weekend show. If you're not familiar with bread pudding, it's essentially stale bread cubed up, soaked in custard, and baked. I added some chopped up chocolate to mine, and instead of bread, I used cinnamon rolls. This stuff is great, and it's an excellent use for any old stale bread you've got, but old stale cinnamon rolls. And I forgot to taste, it was still sort of resting up, and I got distracted by Legos on the weekend. So I never actually tasted it on stream. So we're doing that now, and I'll talk about it. It's warm. Mm. It doesn't have the crunchy tops anymore because the moisture from the custard part has softened the crispy top. When it was brand new, the tops were all like these crispy craggles where the bread was sticking out. And the bottom was this custardy mush. But this is, it's decadent, it's sweet, it's heavy and rich. But because parts of the cinnamon roll were poking out the top, they got crispy, and they also didn't get really soaked. So there's sort of light parts to it as well. It was really easy to make too. I wanted to gush about it because I forgot to, and it's been so good. I've been putting it in a little ramekin and warming up a dish for myself every once in a while as a treat. Mmm. And the cinnamon rolls, I bought them on discount. I bought them on the last day, their last day of their shelf life at the store. So they were already firming up, but they were 25% off. So I had one as just a cinnamon roll. And by the next day, they were noticeably firmed up. So I had one more, and then the following day, they were hard enough that I didn't want to do anything with them. So it was a good way to salvage cinnamon rolls, which definitely dry out and stale faster than standard bread. But also, if you're looking to just make this, maybe you can find some that are on the last day of their shelf life, because this is a perfect use for them. Anything that's about to go stale, this is a perfect use for them, and you can make this then at a discount, and this is nice. This is nice stuff. So that was me being a little bit cheeky and decadent, especially since I haven't quite eaten my dinner yet. It's sitting here where you can see it. I was going to add a little bit of vinegar to my salad. I've said it before and I'll say it again, lettuce is a waste of time. There is no reason for lettuce. Everything it does is done better by some other vegetable. Except being incredibly cheap to produce, I suppose. Even then, I think cabbage like a head of cabbage comes in cheaper than a head of lettuce. Yeah, I think we're looking at a short day today because I don't have another project. I suppose I could taste test this little salad, but that's just to sort of counterbalance my main dinner here because it's a little bit oily. Um, Midnight pasta always comes in a little bit oily. Um, Not extremely oily. It's not pooling at the bottom. Hmm. Actually, that's a good shout. Something I hadn't even considered because it was just doing it naturally. But the sauce is sticking to these noodles like it does to real noodles. So that's another mark in its favor. Really, one and only element that is not 100% on point with these things is the slightly odd texture as you chew them. That's the only thing that's not. I don't think I would buy these again because they are more expensive than an equivalent amount of normal pasta, and I have no dietary restrictions around pasta. So I think that's the issue. I don't think these are worth it for me, but for someone looking for something to stand in for wheat pasta, these are doing a these are doing a darn good job. Um, so yeah, endorsed, but not for me. I can. So it's per package, 20 calories, 6 grams of carbs, 1 gram of fat, and 2 grams of protein. And of the 6 grams of carbs, four of them are fiber. So not much to it. Um, and they were super easy to prepare. And it also has some calcium in it. Technically, it has some calcium and some iron, but I'm going to say that the iron is negligible. Um, so it has some calcium in it. Um, yeah, so if you're looking for a low cal option, this is also definitely not could stand in as a low cal option. For comparison, I have some real pasta right here, which is 200 calories per serving. So there you go. And that's almost entirely carbs. Yeah. So if those are things that you are concerned about, if those are things that you are concerned about, this is definitely an option. It does the things that it sets out to do. What is the serving size on cooked pasta? 56 grams versus. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, that's a consideration too. One serving of this is 200 grams, 226 grams. And one serving of that pasta I just showed is 56 grams. Dry, to be fair, but. So I would say that that 200 is actually more like 400 if you make the same quantity as this. So if you're looking for low cal options, that's a big consideration. I almost never look at calorie counts for things like that, so that didn't cross my mind. But thank you for pointing it out. Um, well, if you like pasta, maybe give this a taste test because it's very, very close, but obviously very low in calories, which is impressive. Usually, low calorie things are like very noticeably different. This is the only thing this falls down in is a little bit in the texture, not a lot in the texture. So there. And of course, with my sauce on it, it's exceptionally delicious. I was trying to be accurate with my description of the texture. It's if you've ever had a like a gelatin that was slightly over set. Hi, Sizan. Welcome in. We're talking about here. I keep throwing this package away, and I gotta stop doing that. This is what I'm eating. This whole day has been a tester for for this, and it has passed all of my tests. I just don't feel like the product is aimed at me at this point. So it performed well, and I give it a I'm willing to endorse it. Call me Tofu Shirikake with a brand deal. Um, oh, also we taste tested the bread pudding. You missed that. I waxed poetic about it for an hour. But yeah, texture is the one thing. I know when I described it, I said I compared it to jellyfish, which is off-putting because ooh, who's eating jellyfish? Um, Jellyfish are completely tasteless. They're all about texture. But yeah, and like I said, I didn't have a follow-up for this, and I expected it might be a little bit of a shorter day today, which is why I was taking my time and why I'm rambling on now. So I think we might call it here. We might kick off here. Right at the start, I was talking about plans for the week. Bring my panel back. I switched the panels on my screens, and it's bugging me, so I'm switching them back. Um, right at the start, I was talking about my plans for the week. I am going to be streaming again tomorrow uh, at noon. I'm gonna finish Optimus Prime, um, so that I don't have the Optimus Prime box sitting around taking up space. Um, I'm real close to a threshold in Twitch in terms of number of streams. We unlocked some emotes, but I don't have instant approval yet. But I'm really close, so I'm going to push a few more streams, try to get myself over that hump. Also, I feel like I should be doing more in general. Um, so yes, tomorrow, finishing Optimus Prime, and then I'll be judging, and I think I'm shooting for doing something on Thursday as well. Could be back in the kitchen project. I don't think we're going to do any cooking on Wednesday ahead of Optimus, unless I make something really quick. Um, I think we're just going to be in there from the start to finish him up. Yeah. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out. Uh, yeah. Let's see who's on. I'm also zoning out a little bit right now. I feel like I'm tired. So let's see who's on. Let's see where we can go. Oh, apparently it's Steam demo week again. No problem. Lurkers are always appreciated. Uh, I see LeFay is online. We raid LeFay all the time. I gotta check up on who's available. What is LeFay even playing? Um, LeFay's just getting started. LeFay hasn't played anything yet. Um, sure. Let's go raid LeFay. Since she is just getting started. No word on, and she always likes to hear about what I've been cooking. Even when I go in there after, like, hours later, she'll be like, "Oh, hey, what were you cooking?" Um, so we're gonna old standby. Um, it's also because she starts around the time when I end, so it's very convenient to sort of hand off. Anyways, I just talked about plans for tomorrow, and then nebulous plans for Thursday. Um, I was I was just at the bank yesterday hooking up an account to link to this channel, so we can actually convert it into revenue. um, so I have back end stuff to work on as well. Uh, oh yeah, and I created a Discord server, but I haven't invited anybody to it. It's just me talking to myself at the moment. Um, um, but I'm really losing focus right now. This is a good time to stop because I'm just kind of bleh. Um, so thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming out. I will see you tomorrow. Uh, bye. I need an outro.